Call to order Business, Finance, and Justice Committee agenda, March 23rd, 2026. The time is now 10 a.m. I'd like to ask Representative Factor to please give the invocation.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord, thank you for bringing us together today to do the business of the nation. And please help us do so with a clear mind and clear conscience. And please continue to bless this nation, help us to prosper. And all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Next item on the agenda will be roll call. Legislative Clerk April Lindsey.
Sandra Golden. James Factor.
Delege.
Robert Huff. William Lowe.
Here.
Lucian Tiger.
Present.
There you got 4 present and 1 absent.
4 present, 1 absent constitutes a quorum. All business conducted to be official. Next item on the agenda will be the approval of minutes from 2/19/26 and 2/24/26. Entertain a motion. Representative Golden.
I'd like to go ahead and approve the minutes with any.
Representative Golden's made a motion to approve the minutes with any necessary changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Representative Factor. Roll call vote, please.
Sandra Golden.
Yes.
James Factor.
Yes.
William Lowe.
Yes.
There you got 3 in favor and 0 against.
3 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda be the order of business. NCA 26-035, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation creating a new chapter entitled Non-Disclosure Agreements in MCNCA Title 31. Sponsors Representative Barnett. It was postponed on 2/19/26.
Here, I'll make a motion to do pass.
Representative Factor made a motion for a due pass. Is there a second?
Chairman, I second.
Second by Representative Lowe. Discussion. Representative Factor.
I believe Representative Barnett's there to talk.
Thank you, Representative Factor. Good morning, committee. You guys saw the original bill in February, as the chairman stated. There is a substitute bill. Hopefully you guys got that in your email. It would be 26-035 substitute.
Representative Barnett. Representative Factor, could you please amend your motion to adopt the substitute, please?
Yes, Chair, I'll make a motion to do pass to amend with the substitution.
Representative Factor made a motion for a due pass for the substitute. Your second, Representative Lowe.
Yes, Chairman, I second.
Second by Representative Lowe. Discussion, Representative Barnett.
Thank you, committee. So just to point out on, excuse me, on page 2, subsection 4-102, prohibition on line 5, the substitute clarifies the language. We've added with the exception of cabinet members. So tribal officers with the exception of cabinet members are prohibited from signing any non-disclosure agreement, NDA, in his or her capacity as a tribal officer of the Muskogee Creek Nation. The substitute was in response to the Tribal Utility Authority. They did reach out to me. They had concerns about being compliant with the law, as there are instances where the Tribal Utility Authority has to sign NDAs in order to do their business. So I did submit the substitution in response to that. And I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything. I think the need for this in my head was a response from my communities, Sapulpa and Bristow as well. And I did get a chance to visit with some of the Quita community members, and citizens had concerns with elected officials signing NDAs. We see a lot of the data centers coming in and the local city councils are signing NDAs and they won't answer questions for their constituents. So that's really what prompted this.
Questions from the committee for Representative Barnett? Representative Factor, Representative Lowe.
No questions, Chairman.
No, sir.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. Thank you, Representative Factor. Up to Representative Golden. Questions from council in the auditorium? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
James Factor,
Yes.
William Lowe,
No.
Sandra Golden,
No.
Robert Huft.
No.
Chair, you got 1 in favor and 3 against.
1 in favor, 3 against. That motion failed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-045, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation creating new law by adding MCNCA Title 14, subsection 4-636, entitled Unlawful Possession of Firearms or Weapons by a Minor. Sponsors Representative Lowe.
Chairman, I make a motion for due pass.
Representative Lowe made a motion for due pass.
I'll second.
Second by Representative Factor. Discussion, Representative Lowe.
Yes, Chairman. Is there someone from Attorney General's office in the audience, sir?
Yes, sir.
Like to give them some time, please.
Thank you.
Good morning. The bill before you is the law we are wanting to see enacted among the Muskogee Creek Nation Criminal Code, being unlawful possession of firearms or weapons by a minor. With the passage of the McGirt Act, fully exercising the sovereignty of the Muskogee Creek Nation among our 11 counties and 3.3 million acres, there are a significant number of juvenile issues. Many of those juveniles who are committing crimes are of a violent nature, and unfortunately, we're finding that they have weapons upon them. This is one of the many crimes that we are moving out from under the Supplemental Crimes Act and enacting it into Muskogee law without having to utilize the state laws for any matter. So that is the impetus for the bill before you this morning.
Question from Ms. Wisner from committee. Question from council in the auditorium. Council online. Thank you, Ms. Wisner. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-046, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation approving and authorizing the principal chief to execute and file the articles of organization with the Office of the Secretary of the Nation to form MCN Outdoor LLC under the Muskogee Creek Nation Limited Liability Company Act and approving the operation agreement for MCN Outdoor LLC. Sponsors Representative Factor.
Chairman, make motion to pass.
Representative Factor made a motion for due pass.
Second.
Second by Representative Huft. Discussion. Representative Factor.
I believe Mr. Harjo's online, Secretary Harjo's online to discuss. If not, he has staff there.
Yes, good morning, committee members and those in the room. This is Secretary of Commerce Harjo, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on the legislation before you. Basically, a summary that's also in the materials. This company, it's something that we had briefed and talked about with committee as part of a number of economic development projects that has been developed by the Commerce Department that is coming to the committee for review and consideration. So basically, this legislation proposes to adopt law to enact the authorization to charter a new company called MCN Outdoor LLC, which is basically going to be a outdoor billboard company providing services and operating outdoor billboards, primarily video billboards. And just kind of speaking from the summary for this entity that was submitted in the business plan, I believe you all have before you. This company is about owning and operating a billboard company that allows for a powerful way to broadcast messages to the community while benefiting the nation. Not only just the community, but the reservation community, but also the non-Indian community that also resides within the reservation. So income from the site, leases, advertising as well presents a significant and stable revenue source for the nation. The ownership of these types of platforms allows for advertising dollars that typically go outside the nation to remain internal for additional benefits. So placing the boards in strategic locations around the reservation leverages the travel advantage from taxation and regulation, but also allows a long-term benefit for net profits back to the nation for development and services over the long term for the citizens and their families. So be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Secretary Harjo. Questions, committee for Secretary Harjo? Representative Golden?
Yes, a couple of things, Mr. Harjo. Was there any interaction, I guess, with our businesses, with MNB or with the loan fund? How would they work with you, with this company?
So there has been some interaction. We did not have any direct interaction with MNB. However, one of the major or primary plans for generating revenue with this new business is to allow other departments within the nation and other offices, even independent companies like One Fire, M&B, even gaming, to utilize this platform as a buyer for advertising space and generate funds that way, because a lot of these companies are already purchasing advertising space from non-Indian owned advertising or billboards around the reservation. So we've talked to One Fire and Gaming about utilizing the services of our new company once it comes online, and that has been the plan from the beginning.
Also, places like in the South area, like, you know, then Eufaula, Dakota, Okima, as well as our smoke shops in the South, or even I-40 smoke shops. Wondering because I saw 244 and I-44. Not that you would leave them out. I just thought.
Representative Golden, yes. In fact, our team's been spending quite a bit of time down off I-40 and Okima and some of the other communities in the area along I-40. And so we're looking at a couple of different projects that don't necessarily concern a billboard company. However, because of the nature of that interstate and the traffic that goes through it, there's definitely a few locations that a video billboard would make a lot of sense, especially around the Okima area.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Chair.
Thank you, Representative Golden. Questions from committee for Secretary Harjo? Question from council in the auditorium? Council online? Thank you, Secretary Harjo. Roll call vote, please.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden.
Yes.
Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
Four in favor, zero against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-047, a law of the Muscogee Creek Nation appropriating funds to MCN Outdoor LLC. Sponsor is Representative Factor.
Chairman, I make motion do pass, and Mr. Harjo's there again to speak on it.
Representative Factor made a motion for a due pass. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Huft. Discussion, Secretary Harjo.
Thank you, Council Representative Lowe, or Lucian Tiger. My apologies. I'm here in Las Vegas, so I'm trying to keep track of everything that's being said and looking at the legislation just to make sure I know what I'm talking about here. So as the legislation that was just approved and passed by the committee, this legislation here we're talking about is actually the funding that goes to that company. So what we've done is develop a business plan that really paid a lot of attention to the marketing side of things. So when we talk about video billboards, which is where things are going in terms of outdoor billboard space, we want to get the highest and best in type of billboard in the best locations. So right now we're looking at the Council Oak area right there next to the hospital, and another billboard right at the Riverwalk location where the I can't remember the name of the road that connects across the river into Jinx from the Tulsa side. So there's a significant amount of traffic there. So each billboard, installed, labor, construction, everything costs about $1 million. So we want to start with 2 billboards, and the remaining amount, about $700,000, would be for operating capital for the company over the next 2 years. We think it'll start being profitable after the end of the second year. So we have a business plan that was provided that lays all out the budget and the projected types of revenue that would generate from these 2 billboards. And as we go forward, we want to continue to add new billboards in other locations around the reservation. And so this $2.7 million that is being requested would fund the company for at least the first 2 years.
Thank you, Secretary Harjo. Question for Secretary Harjo from committee. Council in the auditorium. Council online. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden.
Yes.
Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Ms. Killian, what would the funding source be?
The funding source will be economic development.
Economic development.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-048, a law of the Muscogee Creek Nation amending Article 5, Section 1, A and C of the Constitution of the Muscogee Creek Nation. Sponsors Representative Phillips.
Motion to pass.
Representative Huff made a motion for due pass.
I'll second.
Second, Representative Factor. Discussion. Representative Huff.
This is Mr. Cody's. Cody feels with him.
Representative Phillips.
Hello, Chairman, members of the committee. We gather here today. We are often reminded that the strength of our nation is built on 2 things: stability and the will of the Muskogee people. Currently, our legislative branch could be shifting to a 3-term limit. Moving forward, as a modern, co-equal government, I believe we cannot leave the executive branch behind in a different era of governance. This legislation is not about an individual. It is about the office of principal chief and second chief. It is about ensuring that the leaders chosen by our people have the time necessary to complete the generational projects, whether they be in healthcare, land and trust, or economic development, that often take more than 8 years to finalize. I believe 12 years can provide consistency. I would just like to say that the start of all this, I did a survey, and I also talked to community members and just people out in my general walks of life. And I had a very positive feedback that the people would like to see this, or at least vote on this. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Representative Phillips. Questions of the committee for Representative Phillips? Council online? Council in the auditorium? Representative Barnett?
Thank you, Chairman. My question is that when the legislation came forward for the National Council constitutional amendment, we were told that you could not legislate backwards, that it only could take effect going forward. And so what is the exception with your legislation? Because your legislation goes backwards.
I know for the question, if I could I call on Mr. Haskins to clear this up for me?
Mr. Haskins?
All right, actually, it's a very good question. When Representative Phillips and I had conversations about this, it was somewhat difficult to kind of explain the difference. But with the legislation regarding the chief, it's an expansion of an existing right. There's no taking, there's no rearward look such that would affect his rights because he terms out after 2 years. So it's prospective in the concept. It would give him additional terms. Or an additional term.
Mr. Haskins, could you raise your mic up just a little bit, please? Thank you.
My apologies. When the legislation came through at the National Council had no term limits. So making any kind of a change in the law or change in the Constitution would involve a taking against the council members, affecting a vested right that they already had. So in my opinion, it needed to be prospective only. So again, the difference is whether you're taking an established right or if you're expanding a right. And in this case, with regard to the chief's office, it's expansion. It's not a taking. There's no limiting effect upon the rights that he already has. I hope that explains it. I've been trying to figure out how to express that, and it is somewhat difficult, but essentially, there's no taking of an established right. It's an expansion of a right. And it's just the opposite with regard to legislation that was originally proposed for National Council. It would have the effect of terming out certain people who are already involved in office. It would have taken away the availability of people who had already applied to run for subsequent office. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Haskins. Representative Barnett?
Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Haskins before he leaves from the committee? Questions for Mr. Haskins from council and auditorium? Council online? Thank you, Mr. Haskins. Thank you, Representative Phillips. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
James Factor.
Yes.
There you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-051, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation to add a Section 2 to Article 9 by establishing a constitutional convention. Sponsors Representative Barnett.
Chair, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Factor made a motion for a due pass.
Chair, I second.
Second by Representative Lowe. Discussion, Representative Factor.
I believe Representative Barnett's there to discuss.
Representative Barnett.
Thank you, committee. Well, as you see, the proposed bill would reinstitute the Constitutional Convention. We had a Constitutional Convention allowance or provision, or it used to be in the Constitution and it used to be in the law, and it's since been taken away. I feel like the people that I've talked to, the citizens that I've talked to, are very frustrated. They feel like they don't have a voice in their government, and currently the chief's office and the National Council are the gatekeepers to what the people actually even get to vote on. So if we reinstituted the Constitutional Convention, because here's the thing, potentially we're going to have like 8 or 9 different constitutional questions that may or may not reach the ballot. And if we are in for an overhaul of that magnitude to the Constitution, why wouldn't we do the Constitutional Convention process all over again and give the people a chance to have a voice in that process so that we're actually representing the people? That's the National Council's job, is to amplify the voice of our citizens. And I feel like this legislation would do that. We would go back and have the Constitutional Convention process where we go out in all the communities, all citizens can come, voice their opinions, voice their concerns, voice their requests, and then those get taken back and put on a ballot for the people to vote on in a determined election whenever that gets set.
Questions from committee for Representative Barnett? Representative Golden?
I don't know that it's a question so much as a comment, but I think this is something that's needed. At the same time, I'm thinking of timeliness, and there's some things that I think that has to happen before we do this. And I have some questions for business that has to do with this. And I have a concern before this happened. So my concern is timeliness, I think.
Thank you, Representative Golden.
Chairman.
Representative Barnett?
Ms. Golden, could you unpack that for me?
Well, it gets into another subject, but I did make, I've been asking citizens about it. It has to do with citizenship. And I did ask citizenship, and I haven't gotten a response from citizenship.
Okay.
There's lots of questions about citizenship, and we haven't gotten any response.
Agreed. But despite those questions, I mean, at this point, I think that current citizens or future citizens would have a voice in how their government is set and what their constitution allows them in what rights and privileges they're given. So, I mean, I guess I get your concern, and I'm open. No one from the committee has reached out to ask for any amendments or asked for me to alter it in any way, nor the administration. I mean, I've gotten zero feedback from it. So if there are amendments or suggestions, I would be happy to entertain those. Legislation is living, breathing, it's alive until the end. So anything can be worked on and collaborated on.
As I said, I think some questions have to be answered, and citizenship has. That's another question or
Sure.
business. And
Well, thank you for the discourse. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Representative Golden. Questions for Representative Barnett from the committee? Representative Blow, Representative Factor?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Question from council and auditorium? Representative Yohola?
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know that I really have a question. It's more of a concern. As Ms. Barnett stated, we could possibly have several constitutional amendments in the special election in May. What my issue is the fact that whenever the election board creates the ballot, they have to go by code, and it gets very wordy and very lengthy. We all know that we have a very low voter turnout. So I think that these somehow need to be discussed, each amendment, because I think there's going to be confusion and we may not get people to vote. I mean, again, just voting for the chiefs or even the legislators is very low. And then now we expect for them to vote on this when it can get very confusing. That's all I have. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Hill Osborne. Any other questions, council in the auditorium? Representative Barnett, anything in closing?
Apologize, I didn't hear you.
Anything in closing?
No, I just eagerly await your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
No.
William Lowe,
No.
Sandra Golden.
No.
There you got 1 in favor and 3 against.
1 in favor, 3 against. That motion failed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-052, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA 13-200, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation approving and authorizing principal chief to execute and file the articles of organization with the office of the Secretary of the Nation to form One Fire Holding Company LLC under the Muskogee Creek Nation Limited Liability Company Act and approving the operating agreement for One Fire Holding Company LLC as amended by NCA 14-080 and NCA 14-178 and NCA 18-121, NCA 20-007, NCA 21-109, and NCA 23-095. Sponsors Representative Lowe.
Chairman, I make a motion for due pass.
Representative Lowe made a motion for a due pass.
I'll second.
Second by Representative Factor. Discussion. Representative Lowe.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to ask Commerce Secretary Tim Harjo to discuss this, please.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. This legislation basically does two things. It amends the existing operating agreement for One Fire LLC in two ways. Basically, my apologies, my alerts on my computer, I can't get them to turn off. The first amendment is basically making the fifth board member the Commerce Secretary. So for instance, under the operating agreement, the chief appoints 2 individuals to the board of One Fire. The council appoints 2, and amongst the 4 of those individuals, they get to choose the 5th board member. So under this legislation, the proposed legislation, it would automatically make the Commerce Secretary the 5th board member of One Fire. The second amendment is to raise the amount that the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of One Fire, it has a authorization for the operating agreement has authorization for up to $50,000 in for expenses that don't have to be approved by the board, and it increases that to $75,000. Many of the expenses that the CEO makes on behalf of the company, including Sweet Shots as a subsidiary company, routinely go over $50,000. And so it causes a burden on the board to have to meet more regularly to approve those. And so by increasing it another $25,000, it helps streamline that process and gives more flexibility to the CEO. I would entertain any questions at this time.
Question for Secretary Harjo from the committee. Representative Lowe, Representative Factor.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Questions for council in the auditorium? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
There you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda is NCA 26-053, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation appropriating funds for legal fees to One Fire Holding Company LLC. Sponsors Representative Lowe.
Chairman, I make a motion for due pass.
Representative Lowe made a motion for a due pass.
I'll second.
Second by Representative Factor. Discussion. Representative Lowe.
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to ask Commerce Secretary Tim Harjo again, please, sir.
Thank you, Representative Lowe. So as the current board member for One Fire LLC, I've been working in that capacity for about 3 or 4 months now. And one of the key challenges the One Fire LLC company is facing is it's currently locked into a dispute over sales taxes with the State of Oklahoma Tax Commission and the City of Jinx. Basically, in a nutshell, they believe that we owe them sales tax for the One Shot operation, or Sweet Shots operation, which is a subsidiary of One Fire LLC. And basically, it's been assessed on 3 different instances, sales tax in the amount of about $90,000 each. It's also sent these tax assessments personally against the former chair of the board, Mr. Jeff Fife. And so right now, our legal counsel has been working diligently to address the issue in the administrative process with the tax commission. And that's been going on for over 6 months now. We're hoping that it can be resolved at least in the short term, but also if there's going to be a change of governor that's more favorable to our position. We believe the law is clear on our side that the tribe and any of its entities do not have to pay a sales tax even if it's on fee land within the reservation. I think the law's been very clear on that. However, the State Tax Commission is obviously of a different opinion. And in the meantime, our legal fees, if this turns into a court case and goes into the state or federal system, we want to make sure that not only are we getting the expertise that we need, my apologies, but the expertise that we need, but also as we move forward, we have the individuals, the board members individually, the management of the company, the officers of the company, that they're also protected from personal actions against them by the state, just as Jeff Fife was when he was the sitting chairman for One Fire. So we've submitted a budget of about $350,000 to help pay for those legal fees as we move forward. That should get us through the next year and a half. That's basically it in a nutshell. I'd be happy to go into more detail and field any questions the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Harjo. Questions for committee for Secretary Harjo? Representative Lowe, Representative Factor.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Questions for Secretary Harjo from Council and Auditorium? Council online? Before we vote, I need to note section 4, line 9 and 10, Scribner's error, fund account for attorney services for the Muskogee Creek Nation needs struck. Add in funding account to One Fire Holding Company LLC. Roll call vote, please.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
James Factor,
Yes.
Robert Huff.
Yes.
There, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Ms. Killian, funding source, please.
Thank you, committee. The funding source will be interest on permanent fund.
Interest on permanent fund. Thank you, Ms. Killian. Next item on the agenda, referred legislation. NCA 26-043, NCA 26-044. What would the funding sources be for those, Ms. Killian?
The funding source will be general taxes.
For both? Thank you.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve the funding sources, please.
Make a motion to approve the funding source for the legislation.
Representative Huff made a motion to approve the funding source, seconded by Representative Golden. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
William Lowe,
Yes.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
James Factor.
Yes.
Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda be other business. Discussion with MNGE.
Hi, Chairman Tyre. This is Kevin Agee.
Representative Huff.
Yes, make a motion to go to executive session. If you're a Creek citizen, you can stay in.
Representative Huff made a motion to go into executive session, seconded by Representative Golden. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed? We're in executive session at 10:41. Next item on the agenda will be announcements. I have a few announcements. We have HEW BF&J Joint Committee meeting at 11:15. We have LNC BF&J Joint Committee meeting at 11:30. We have HEW LNC Joint Committee at 11:45. And we also have planning at noon today. Any other announcements from the committee? Any announcements from council and auditorium? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Representative Huff made a motion to adjourn. Second by Representative Golden. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Like to ask Representative Huff to please give the benediction.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank things you give us in our lives, Lord. I pray that you go with us today as we make decisions. All your will, Lord. Just be with us today. Ask in Jesus.
Amen. Meeting adjourned. 11:01.